Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today, thanks to the support of my patrons, we'll be taking a look at the new Diamond Select Ghostbusters Deluxe Ray Stantz. And this is absolutely deluxe. I mean, this package is massive. I mean, all I have for a comparison here is a hat. Go Ducks! But here's a hat for size reference. I don't know, but I mean this thing is really quite large. You can see that it is a deluxe figure with a lot of accessories and a diorama piece, and you got this nice package here that showcases the entire figure, all of its accessories, and then in the back you can actually see the diorama piece. So you get to see pretty much everything. On the side here you got a nice image of Dan Aykroyd himself as Ray Stantz, and then you got the Ghostbuster logo. On the back of the package you got a bit of a read-up as well as the other figures that are currently available in this wave. And as you can see, you collect all 12 figures and you can actually recreate the rooftop scene from the end of the original Ghostbuster movie, which is terrific. And then for the read-up here, it says, Dr. Raymond Stantz was performing psychological research at a large New York City university when his funding was unceremoniously cut, leaving him and his colleagues, Egon Spengler and Peter Venkman, out of work. However, a close encounter with a phantasm gave the trio the data they needed to catch and contain a supernatural entity, inspiring a new venture, the Ghostbusters. Ray purchased an empty firehouse for the group, and while business was slow at first, a localized spike in paranormal activity soon made them the toast of the town. Well versed in religious texts and the occult, Ray is also the technical wizard, designing the proton packs, neutrino wand, and ghost traps with Egon. He also does his own work on the Ghostbusters car, the Ecto-1. And it says this 7-inch scale action figure is based on the 1984 feature film Ghostbusters and features multiple points of articulation as well as accessories and diorama parts. It was sculpted by Gentle Giants Studios. Now these figures, honestly, I was a little bit kind of on the fence about getting, and that's why I waited so long to get these. I honestly wasn't all that impressed with the overall sculpting of them. The bodies and everything look absolutely terrific. It's the face sculpts that I'm a little bit, they're put off by, I guess. But we'll get into all that here in a little bit. So for the packaging, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get this guy open and see how cool he actually is. Guys, so here we have Dr. Raymond Stantz open up and out of its packaging. And honestly, the overall presentation that we have here for the figure is actually pretty good. Now, I do have several problems with him that kind of keeps me from really loving this figure, but honestly, I do feel that this is the best representation of a Ghostbuster figure that we've ever gotten. But to be honest, that's really not saying much. Now, for his accessories, in addition to two more open fists that he has, he comes with several other hands. He comes with a both right and left kind of clutching hand, I suppose that you could say. I don't know exactly what kind of pose you would use this for. Maybe you use this with his Walkie Talkie. That's my guess. You can see that it does have a swivel here for the wrist, and then it also pegs in there. This is one of the problems that a lot of people have with it. These pegs, the glue that they, or not the glue, the paint that they use, they just kind of splatter it all on the actual hand, and a lot of times it gets into the actual joint, and it makes it almost impossible to kind of move those around. If you heat it up, you can kind of melt that plastic and get it a little bit easier to kind of articulate, but that's definitely one of the, I guess, quality control aspects that kind of have been plaguing this line, I guess. So you do have that. You have a more open kind of right hand, which maybe this is a little bit better to hold this walkie-talkie. That would be my guess, to be totally honest with you. But again, you got that same wrist peg that moves forward and back, and then the ball section right there, which will allow it to rotate. And then you get a right fist that it flexes kind of up and down like this. It doesn't go side to side, it just goes up and down. You can see a lot of extra paint kind of just splattered right in there. And then you do get the ball. I don't necessarily know what you're going to use this particular hand for, because the grip is very, very tiny. Although one would anticipate that it would be a good hand to use to hold this neutrino wand. I just, like I said, I'm dropping it. That hole is really very small and doesn't fit in there, and you can't, because it's all one molded piece. It's not like you can separate the fingers to slide it in there. And obviously you see he's got the hose attached there, so there's no real way to kind of like put it in and then slide it up. it just seems like this is I don't know, a completely pointless hand, to be totally honest with you. I don't get that aspect. Then you do get some gloved hands. Now, what's kind of interesting about that is they have these little sections right here that kind of come up over the cuffs to make it look like they're longer gloves, which is cool. But these are literally just repaints of the hands that we already have. They're not molded differently or anything like that. So, giving you kind of an example, you can look here in getting this out of the way. You can see that these hands are the exact same hand. They're just painted in this black plastic, and again, really stiff joints right here. I mean, and you can even tell by the fact that, you know, there's some like molded knuckles and stuff, and you can see where the fingernails are. So it's kind of disappointing that they just decided to repaint these instead of giving us newly molded ones, because the gloves should be a little bit thicker than the actual hands themselves. So you do get a total of 4 of these, and you get those clinched hands, which again I don't get at all. All of them do come with the little cuff section that does come up and kind of cover. I mean, that's kind of cool looking, honestly, but I just think that as gloves, they should be a little bit thicker looking, not just the size of hands. And then you get a right and left open grip hand, which I currently have on the figure holding his neutrino wand. But these actually are a little bit disappointed. I don't even know why they need to give you 4 of these, because you're not going to really use all 4. I mean, you're going to use 2 at most. So it's like, I don't know why they had to give every single hand one. I mean, I guess that's cool, but it just seems like a waste of, you know, plastic. They could use it for something else. These are very soft rubber, but like I said, you just kind of fit those over the cuffs that are currently on his suit. So really cool. He does come with, and here's another problem that I have. He does come with a Proton String, which actually looks pretty cool. You got this very orange kind of primary beam, and then you got some like softer rubber blue bits that are kind of wrapped around it. I don't think this is all that bad. I do kind of wish that it was more of a translucent orange plastic. I think that would have looked a little bit better and more realistic. This looks very cartoony, and it's not something that I think really kind of fits with, you know, a collector style figure. The other problem that, and that's, I mean, so that's just the overall look. The other problem that I have for it is this is the piece right here that you're supposed to plug in here. Except there is absolutely no way to do it. I mean, this is all molded in one piece. You can't insert this at all. So, I mean, it doesn't fit. Oh, there goes the hand. Let me just take these off, because I'm going to have to show you this here in a little bit anyhow. There's literally no way to put this where it's supposed to go. Now, you can wedge it. There's a little thing right here. You can wedge it in there on this side if you want to have it. No, it doesn't even sit in there very well. It's just, I have no idea what the purpose of including this is when you can't attach it. And that's really kind of unfortunate. I'm not a very, very big fan of that. Now, kind of showing you what I was talking about before with the gloves. Let's see, is this, let's get that the right way. I'm just going to show you how to attach this. You just put these in, you slot this over, and then they just peg in. Like I said, they're little ball pegs. So you have that kind of look right there, which it's okay. It's cool that they included it. I just, like I said, I'm a little bit indifferent about it. Now, in terms of the other accessories, getting that in there, he does come with his ecto goggles, which are really very cool. Very soft rubber. He does have a hard time getting it over, or I do have a hard time getting it over his head, mostly because of his hair. You can see that his hair is very poofy right here. You kind of have to go from the bottom and then bring that over to get it like so. And you're not going to get a very good, you know, pose like this. I mean, you can do it. You do something like that where it's kind of sitting up on the top of his head, which doesn't look bad. This is kind of silly. I mean, there's not really much you could do about that, but that does look pretty cool just in general. And then he also does come with a Walkie Talkie, which is really nice, and you can see that it actually has a holster for it, so that's cool that they have something like that on there. In general, the detail for the suit, though, looks really very good. I think that they did a really nice job of capturing, far better, like I said, than any other representations that we've gotten for him. Honestly, is it supposed to go this way? I don't know. No idea which way his arm is actually supposed to go. You got nothing right here, and then you got a like black section right there. So
I don't know if I have his arms reversed or what. Honestly, I think it should go like that. It probably looks a little bit better going like that and not having that black right there, I guess. I don't know, whatever. So I'm just going to rotate those around. You can see it does matter which way you have them. They fit either way and they rotate. Let's see. Does that go all the way back? Maybe that. No. Let's see. It's about the same range of motion, I would say. So I guess it doesn't really matter which way you have it. Just personal preference, I guess. And it doesn't look like it's sculpted really differently or anything like that, but the overall suit does look really good. You got a real nice amount of detail here on the belt. You can see that it is a separate piece. It's softer rubber as well, so you can have that kind of dangling around. His proton pack here is absolutely terrific, even to the point where it's got the warning labels, and that's really very impressive. There's a lot of detail on here which really stands out and looks terrific, far better than anything, like I said, we've gotten before. I'd honestly say, you know, part of the problem on the other figures that we got, like the Matty Collector ones, is that it's smaller, so you can't get as much detail on there. You got the nice hose right around here that does seem like it's, you can kind of bend it. It's like, I don't know if it's supposed to have like a little bendy wire in there, but it does seem to stay in one spot wherever you put it, so that's actually kind of cool. Now, this is another problem that I have with the figure. At least mine, there's supposed to be a little hook right here that kind of grabs on, where's it at? To this little slot thing right here. You're supposed to just go bloop and put that in there. But as you can see, I don't have one. There's a slot right there for where it's supposed to go in and probably be glued in. But again, quality control on there, so I don't have that. Now, I did send out a tweet to Diamond Select, and they did mention contacting customer service. I honestly don't know if I'm going to bother going with that route. I do appreciate that they reached out to me to, you know, fix that as a problem, but like I said, I just honestly do not care all that much. It's just, these figures just, I don't know, like I said, I mean, they're good representations. It just, I can't get behind them all that much. One of the other things that I really don't like, honestly, is the fact that you can't stand him. I mean, his feet, first of all, look fairly small, and you can see they're kind of rounded. Now, granted, my surface here is rounded, but this just, he doesn't like standing unless you kind of get him on a angle. And again, because of the rounded feet, he just wants to roll all the time. So unless you get it absolutely perfect, there you have it. He'll stand, but everything else, I mean, you can just see how those boots just round. It's not very good on that. Now, there are pegs underneath here where you could get figure stands. I don't know where you would get them. I don't know if it's kind of, you know, universal kind of peg or something that, you know, a lot of stands would work with, but it's just something that I'm really not a huge fan of. I also don't really like the way that this looks. It kind of makes him look like he's got a pot belly, to be totally honest. I would have preferred just a straight body. It does add articulation, sure, but just the bulkiness of that really kind of does make him look weirdly proportioned. So I'm not a big fan of that kind of look. I also really don't like his face sculpt, to be totally honest. It's not bad. Again, it is and I'm trying to get him to stand. And that part, that just looks like, honestly, to me, like a caricature of Dan Aykroyd. I don't think it looks bad. I think it does have the likeness there, although I don't think it's the greatest of them. It just really does kind of look like a caricature. Maybe it's because of the thickness kind of the paint that they use, because that really does have a very thick kind of look to it. It's like it's just globbed on there, and then you can even see that some of it is a little bit sloppy, and I've seen this very common on a lot of them. You have his eyebrow right there, and the paint is above where his eyebrow kind of bone structure is, so it's really kind of sloppy. Again, you know, it's not bad. It really isn't bad. I'm just not all that impressed with it. I think that it could look a lot better. But staying and zoomed in here, you can see that he's got Stantz written on his jumpsuit. You can see that he's got his black t-shirt underneath there. Ghostbuster logo on that side, not on that side, which is accurate. Real good detail, though, in the suit. I like the dirty kind of look on it. You come down here and getting this out of the way. You can see his belt looks really nice. This little section right here actually holds a ghost trap, which is nice, and that comes with Winston. So if you wanted to put it here, here, you could, but you do have his holster there. You got all these various gadgets and things hanging on his belt, which look great. Again, looking at the Proton pack, real nice detail on the back of that guy. It's almost like you can read these. I mean, you can make out that says danger. I don't know if that actually says things because I can't see it, but it does look really very cool. Real nice paint detail on there with the reds and the blues and yellow and things like that. Come down here again, you got his jumpsuit with some real nice detail and good sculpting in there. I like the paint variation. Like I said, very dirty looking, but just those feet really do make things very awkward for him to stand. It's just too rounded, and like I said, constantly wants to do that. So overall, good looking figure. I just feel like it's not quite there. And as you can see, he just doesn't stand very well. There's nothing I can really do with this. I gotta have him hold it, but that actually looks really good as well. I wish there was a little bit more paint detail on the actual top section here. That would have been pretty good. Now for his articulation, the head is on a ball joint, but one thing that I've noticed is it really does kind of, I don't know if it's the sculpting, but I mean, a lot of times it just looks, maybe if you have it positioned the wrong way, I mean, it just kind of looks like he's hunched over sometimes. I'm not a huge fan of that sculpt, but I think a lot of it has to do with this. But you get a nice range of motion with the head. The shoulders are on pin hinge joints, so they hinge outward, and then they can rotate 360 degrees. He's got those same kind of joints here at the elbow, so you can move them forward and back. They can rotate. The wrists move depending on which one you have in. Like, for example, this one moves up and down. Several of them kind of move in and out like that, and they also can rotate. Getting this out of the way. This section here, you get a nice rotation. There's a little bit of flex in the abdomen, not a heck of a lot. So that's why I'm saying that, honestly, they shouldn't have even bothered putting that in there, because you got a waist joint down here at the bottom that also does rotate the figure around. So it's like that you get a little bit of flex in there, but it's kind of pointless. So I would have preferred to see that all one piece and just let the waist rotate, or put that on a ball joint so maybe you can get a little bit more side to side. I don't think you needed that. The hips here move forward, they move back, they move in and out, they rotate at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two joints here at the knee, but again, really very stiff. There we go. So you got the two joints. That kind of looks ugly. I think that they could have done that a little bit better. A lot of other toy companies do much better job with their double knees. That's just not very good, I don't think, aesthetically. It does have a tilt here at the ankle, and then it moves forward and back. So you can really position that in a way that you get, you know, a good pose with them. It's just the feet kind of screw it all up. So again, trying to get him to stand here, it's a chore. It is a chore, and it's not a fun one, to be honest with you. So there we go. Now, saving this kind of for last, he does come with, I'm just going to set him over there, a diorama piece. Now, this thing is shaping up to be really, really large. According to the package, all 12 figures here are going to include these pieces. I do believe I saw somewhere that the entire line is scheduled to have 15 figures, but I think only the first 12 are coming with diorama pieces. Now, this looks to be the side. We haven't really been able to put this together or anything. You got some hooks and things right here, which are going to be a collect and connect kind of thing. And then you have this, which fits right there. So, really pretty cool detail on this. I like the overall kind of texture on here. Definitely feels like it's, you know, like a rooftop. You got some nice brick detail right back here. In general, it looks pretty good. I think that a lot of people are going to be more impressed with this than anything else, to be totally honest with you. You can't really do too much with this wand other than just kind of stand here with it. I kind of wish that he came with a stand, actually, to make it a little bit better. But in general, I think it looks pretty good. And for comparison, here we have the Matty Collector version, which, again, I mean, Matty Collector really mishandled that whole line, but I think they did a pretty good job on the figures as well. At least you can get the neutrino wand to stay on the backpack. But in general, this looks pretty good, but you can definitely see that the detail has been really put into these new figures. It definitely has a much better aesthetic than the Matty Collector one. It's just, but that being said, this is still a figure here that has way too many problems, I think, with it to be considered a adult collectible. You know, it's a fun figure, and with the new Ghostbuster movie coming out, I am happy that we're getting some, you know, new Ghostbuster merchandise in stores. I mean, I know people are going to ask, what do you think about the new Ghostbuster movie coming out? And regardless of what I think about that film, I think what it could possibly do is just make Ghostbusters relevant again. Which, honestly, I don't see a bad thing in that at all. It's very similar to what Michael Bay did with the Transformers franchise. Hate those movies all you want, but at least he made Transformers a viable franchise once again. And I think that the new Ghostbuster movie could do that. And it's evident in the fact that now we're getting these figures. I can guarantee you that these figures would not have been created if that new Ghostbuster movie wasn't coming out. So that, in my opinion, is definitely a good thing. As I said, in terms of these figures, I do think that they are the best representations of the characters that we've ever gotten. But there are still several things that just do not sit well with me. Number one being what I honestly feel is the quality control on this. Things are just kind of sloppy, and you can really feel just mass-produced in this, and I think that Diamond Select has tried. I really do, and I give them a ton of credit for actually attempting it, but in my opinion, they just fall short. But Ray, as well as Winston and a possessed version of Louis Tully, is currently available in Wave 1. Wave 2 consists of Egon Spangler, Peter Venkman, and Dana Barrett. So, if you're interested in collecting these figures, they're available at various retail locations, or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So if you want to pick them up, all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on these guys, as well as a wide range of other action figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe in case you haven't already subscribbled. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.